rest down into the support of the floor. And take a moment or two to connect to your breath. Close your eyes and see if you can allow the experience of your body from the inside to start to come up towards the surface. You can notice, how does your breath feel? How does your back, your hips, your shoulders, your neck, how do they feel? How do they connect down towards the mat? Are there differences between the sides? Take a couple breaths, just letting your breath lift your belly with the inhale. And letting your exhale invite you to soften towards the mat, releasing both your breath and any tension that you might be holding in the back body so that you're softening towards the ground. Because tension in the shoulders is so often connected to tension in the front of the body, we'll begin by taking a couple cycles of the arch and flatten pattern. So as you inhale, let your belly rise, just as you were doing before. Start to slowly tip your pelvis so that your low back rises up. And let your hips press down as if you were going to press your tailbone into the floor. And see if you can feel your back muscles contract. When you arch your back muscles are contracting and shortening. And then very consciously, very slowly release that contraction. This is, of course, the key to pandiculation, is a conscious contraction followed by a slow, aware release of that contraction, where your mind invites the muscles to really let go by paying deep attention. And as you exhale, draw your low back towards the mat. Start to shorten on the front body. See if you can feel both your pubic bone curl up and your ribs draw down, visualizing and feeling the front body shorten just as you did on the back. And then very slowly, very consciously release that work, letting your back remain resting on the mat as you soften, so that the muscles in the back body don't try to help. Give yourself one more cycle. As you inhale, let your pelvis roll like a rolling pin towards your toes. And see if you can consciously feel contraction from the low back up towards the base of your ribs. And then very slowly release that contraction. Letting the back lengthen, letting that effort soften little by little by little, visualizing and feeling your back melt towards the ground. And again, once you've released fully from your back, give yourself one more cycle, contracting through the front body. Notice how the back body lengthens in relationship to the contracting of the front body. The shortening of the front body is related to the lengthening of the muscles on the back body. And very gently release. And take a moment just to pause. If you've noticed that you have a lot of tension in the front body and the back body, please feel free to pause the video and give yourself a couple more cycles. Shifting our focus up towards the shoulders and the upper body, start by letting your arms reach up towards the ceiling. Let your hands be roughly over top of your shoulders. And imagine that coming down from the ceiling, right over the center of your chest, was a climbing rope. And with your left arm, start to slowly reach up as if you were going to catch a hold of that rope. And notice what contracts. The inner arm, the inner chest muscles, and even down into your belly that contract as you reach. And then releasing from those same places, slowly lower that left shoulder down to the mat. As it comes down, press it down a little bit. And feel how in order to press it down, the muscles in the back body contract. Your shoulder blade glides underneath you a little bit. And then release from your upper back. And let your arm come back to neutral, where there's no effort on the front or the back of the shoulder. And then try it on the right side. Reach up with the right arm. Again, feel the chest, the belly, the inner arm contract. You might notice that your back rounds here as you reach to allow you to reach a little further. And then releasing from those same muscles, allow that slow process of letting go to let your shoulder come down to the mat. And once it comes down, start to gently press it down and see if you can feel your shoulder blade draw towards your spine. The muscles on the upper back are contracting to move your shoulder towards the floor. And then keeping your attention with those muscles that have just contracted in, release that effort. Feel your shoulder blade broaden towards the sides. So now we'll put those together, going back and forth. As you reach up with the left arm, see if you can press the right shoulder back and down. So now the left shoulder blade is moving away from your spine. The right shoulder blade is moving towards it. And then release from both the front body and the back body, melting back to neutral. Letting the left shoulder come down, letting the right shoulder blade glide out towards the sides. And then reverse. Left shoulder will press down, right arm will reach up and out. And give yourself a couple of slow, really attentive cycles going back and forth. See if you can really tune in, not just to the movement of the hand, but to the movement at the center of your body, of your shoulder blades, of the muscles in the back, the muscles in the chest, of your collarbones, that allow this reaching of the arm. Go one more time to each side. And as you finish, take a moment just to let your arms come down beside you. Take a moment just to pause. Notice how things feel, whether anything has shifted in your awareness or in the experience of your shoulders, both front and back. And then adding one more step onto this cycle, let your arms reach back up towards the ceiling. And we'll add pressing down into the same side foot as you reach up. So to start, press down into the left foot. And as you press the left foot down, let the left arm reach up. Notice how not only does that help you to reach a little further, but it also shortens and contracts the left side of the body. And now as you slowly lower the shoulder down, lower your left hip down as well. Feel how the left side lengthens as you let the hip and the shoulder come to the mat. And then do the same on the right. Press into the right foot, let the right arm reach up. Again, notice what contracts to allow this to happen. And then very, very slowly release that effort to soften back down to the mat. And go back and forth a couple more times. Press down into the left foot to reach up with the left arm. And then soften that work to come back to center. Press into the right foot to reach up with the right arm. And then release back down. Give yourself one more cycle and see if you can feel into the consciousness of that effort. Let those muscles work a little bit. Reach with your fingers. See if you can turn on a sense that you're doing this action consciously. And then very consciously, very deliberately release that effort to let the shoulder come down and the hip come down by letting go in the front and side body. One final time, take that same cycle towards the right. As you press into the right foot, as you reach with the right arm, let those muscles contract, maybe just a tiny bit more. Never working into a painful place, obviously, but making that a conscious contraction. And then very, very slowly release that contraction, softening all the way back down. Once you've come down, let your arms soften down beside you. Take a moment just to pause and to rest. Our next pattern is going to have us take our arms out towards the sides. Set yourself up so that you've got the space to let your arms extend out like a T. Your hands about in line with your shoulders. And then once you've created this shape, bring your focus into your left arm. Start by turning the left palm down towards the mat. And now continue to roll the arm in that direction until you feel your left shoulder start to rise up. And as it rises up, let it press forward a little bit. And notice how that connects the inner arm, the chest, and your belly, like a ray that moves down into your center. And then very slowly release along that same line to let your shoulder come down and let the arm unwind until the palm faces up again. And then try moving the left arm in the opposite direction. Start to roll your palm more towards the top of your head. Feel the outer arm and then your upper back start to contract. Let the shoulder blade be drawn in and down your back. And then very gently release. And as you release, allow your shoulder to soften towards the top of the head, the outer arm to release until your palm turns to face up. Then try that same action on the right side. Let the right palm turn down and keep rolling the arm in that direction until the right shoulder rises up. See if you can feel that connection from the inner arm all the way in towards the center of your body. And then very consciously release along that same line. Let the shoulder be lowered down by letting go of that effort. And then let the arm roll in the opposite direction. Palm of the hand will turn towards the top of the head. Feel your shoulder blade draw down your back. You might even notice a little arching in your back as the back body engages. And then very, very slowly release. So we're going to start to put these two together. So the left arm and the right arm are moving at the same time. The arms are going to roll in opposite directions. We'll start by turning the left palm down. And as the arm rolls, let the shoulder rise up. Now take the right arm in the opposite direction. Let the right palm turn towards the top of the head and keep rolling until you feel your right shoulder move back and your upper back down towards your middle back contract. And then very gently, very consciously release from both, coming back to neutral. And then reverse. Let the right palm turn down. Let the left palm turn up. See if you can feel both into the contraction on the front body on the right side and on the back body on the left side. And then gently release. And go back and forth a couple of times. Notice how the arms travel in a spiral here. How this action of spiraling in and then releasing, whether it's on the front body or the back body, invites a pulsation of contracting in and releasing back out. On this next cycle, as the right palm turns up, left palm turns down, let your head turn towards the right so that you're allowing your neck and your head to move with this spiraling action. Going back to neutral. Then rotating the arms in the opposite direction. As that left palm turns up, right palm turns down, let your head turn towards the left. We'll add one more piece into this movement of the arms, and that's letting the legs sway from side to side. So that we'll have taken this spiral that's moving right to left and added a spiral that's moving from the top and the bottom of the spine. Let the left palm turn down, right palm turn up. Your gaze is always going to be towards the hand that's up, so let your head move towards the right. And then start to lower your knees in the opposite direction of your gaze, towards the left. And you'll notice that your right hip rises up as the left shoulder rises up. Notice this diagonal connection across the front body. And then release that effort. Come back to center. Rotate the arms in the opposite direction. Right palm will turn down. Left palm will turn up. That means the left shoulder is moving back, right shoulder is moving forward. And let the knees slowly lower towards the right as you let your head turn towards the left. Again, stop at any point where you feel stress or strain and make the movement smaller if you need to, releasing back to center. We'll go one more time in each direction. Left palm will turn down, right palm will turn up. That means the left shoulder is moving forward, right shoulder is moving back. Head will turn towards the right, knees will move towards the left. So you can lengthen along the right side of the body to allow the knees to move towards the left. And then release back to center. One final time, let the right palm turn down, left palm turn up. Again, that means the gaze will be moving towards the left as the knees move towards the right. See if you can let the left side of the body, the left side of your back lengthen and release as that left hip rises up. And then very gently release the effort it took to come into that shape. Come back to neutral. Take a moment just to pause, noticing any changes in sensation, awareness, connection to the floor. Then our final movement pattern will happen seated. So as you're ready, roll yourself over onto one side. Use your hands to help you come up to sit. I'm going to show this movement pattern seated on the floor, but there's no reason that you need to sit on the floor to do this pattern. If you'd be more comfortable sitting in a chair, please do, coming right to the front edge so that you feel like you can sit tall. This final pattern is going to connect into the muscles that move between the neck, the upper back, and the top of the shoulders. Let your arms just rest by your sides. They can hang down, they can rest in your lap, whatever's comfortable for you. But let it be a place where you can really let go so you aren't holding the shoulders up as you move through these patterns. And then start by turning your head towards the left. As you turn your head to the left, find a comfortable rotation. Please don't force. And then gently start to tip your head backwards. And then let your right shoulder rise up. So that now the top of your shoulder and the side of your neck and the back of your head are drawing towards one another. Let that contraction be conscious so that your mind understands what it's engaging to let that happen. And then very, very slowly start to release. And as you release, you're going to let your shoulder soften down. You're going to let your head start to pour forward. As it pours forward, it's going to move towards the inside edge of your left shoulder. So if you were going to look underneath your armpit, let it come only as far as you can without any force. And then very gently lift your head back up. And we'll try that action 2 more times. First, let the head tip back. And let that right shoulder rise up almost as if you are holding something in the back of your shoulder. And then very, very gently release the shoulder down and lower your head down. Letting the slow movement invite your mind to really be in control of the process of letting go. And at the point where you feel like that letting go stops, let that be your edge. Give yourself 1 more time. Head will rise slowly back up. And let it tip back. Let the right shoulder rise. And then very, very slowly release the shoulder down towards the mat. And let your head pour forward. Can resist the tendency to pull the shoulder down. Let it soften down by letting go of the effort in those muscles across the upper shoulder and the neck. And let your head come back up to center. And let it come back to neutral. Notice any differences between that right side where we just worked and the left side. We'll take that same pattern towards the left, or working on the left. Turn your head towards the right. And keeping your head rotated towards the side, start to tip your head back. The left shoulder rise up. And notice where you feel this contraction and let it be conscious. That doesn't necessarily mean forceful, but with enough energy that your mind can really pay attention to it. And then start to gently lower the shoulder and allow your head to pour forward. Again, only as far as you can without any force. And start to gently lift the head back up. And keeping it rotated towards the right, let your head tip back a little bit. Let the shoulder rise up. Notice what contracts here. Let your mind really connect to that contraction like a spotlight. And then keeping your attention there, let your mind invite those muscles to really slowly release. Stay in control of that process of letting go. So that habit isn't taking over, but your mind is really becoming aware of how it guides these actions. Give yourself 1 more cycle. The head rise back up again, keeping your head rotated towards the right. Tip back, let the shoulder rise. And then very, very slowly start to release. If there was a specific place where you noticed there was tenderness or tension, for me that's always sort of at the back, closer to my spine. Make sure you're letting go from those places. And let the head come back up. Let your head come back to neutral. So we worked turning our heads one direction and lifting the opposite shoulder. We can also target different muscles by letting the direction of the head and that same shoulder move. So to start, turn your head towards the left. Let your head gently tip back, and now lift the left shoulder up. Notice how that's a different set of muscles. And then as you release, let the shoulder melt down. Let your head soften back to neutral so that you're gazing forward again. Letting the shoulder rest down as much as it can, again without any force. Try that a couple of times. Let your head turn towards the left. Gently tip it back and let the left shoulder rise up. Make it conscious so that you can make the release conscious as well. Slowly lower the shoulder. Let your head just as slowly return back to center, back to neutral. Try one more time towards the left. Again, head will turn towards the left and then tip back. And then let the left shoulder rise. Find a conscious connection to that contraction. And then very, very slowly release it. And as you release it, your head come back to neutral. Keep softening through the upper shoulder, the upper back, until you feel like you've let all of that effort go. You might notice that your left hand now rests more firmly down on the mat. I know that's true for me because I've released this space enough to let that arm be longer. So we'll do the same towards the right. Let your head turn first towards the right. And start to slowly tip it back. Again, this time it will be the right shoulder that rises up. Let it rise up until you feel a conscious contraction at the neck, upper shoulder, and in your back. And then very, very slowly start to lower the shoulder down by really paying attention to the act of letting go. Allowing your head to return back to center as you let go through the shoulder and upper back. And take that 2 more times towards the right. Your head turned towards the right. Very gently tip it back. Let the right shoulder rise. Maybe this movement is really small for you if you carry a lot of tension in this area. Come only to a place that feels like you can create some consciousness, but without any force or discomfort. Again, really pay attention to where you're releasing the contraction from, noticing whether there are more places in the upper shoulder, the neck, or the upper back from which you could let go as you let the shoulder soften down and your head return to neutral. Give yourself one more cycle. Again, first the head will turn towards the right. And let it gently tip back. And let that right shoulder be drawn upwards by contracting the muscles in the upper shoulder that connect into the neck. And then releasing from those same places, gently, slowly lower it down. As best you can, let that movement be smooth. If there's a lot of roughness or jerkiness, it generally means that the mind has lost that connection. See if you can connect back into that contraction and then soften it back out. And then as you finish, if you're comfortable seated, let your hands come to rest wherever they're comfortable. It could be in your lap, it could be by your sides. Close your eyes and direct your attention inward. Give your mind a moment or two to absorb the change, the transformation, both of awareness and of tension and space across the shoulders, the upper back, your chest. Let that be part of your embodied experience, part of the moment, the presence of your body.